This is the most lethal, best way to get your next or your first high ticket client who's going to pay you 2 grand to 10 grand. You don't need to do ads. You don't need to hire a setter or a VA to do shout outs. You don't even need an email list for this to work for you. By now, you've seen your fair share of motivational posts and all these other how-to videos scattered across the internet and YouTube. You're probably wondering to yourself, okay, what's involved? And is this going to work for me? For this to work for you, you should be either an agency owner, course creator, coach, consultant. Maybe you sell some sort of information-based product online. Now, what you should know is that speed is greater than skill. So the faster you work and the more likely and willing you are to adapt and pivot as necessary throughout your time as an entrepreneur, this will always outwin, outpace, overshadow skill. So you can have literally all of the skills and traits that are necessary, but you must be willing to take action and do it quickly. That means you need to be decisive. There's this concept called organic marketing. I asked Google, what is organic marketing? And it involves growing your audience through non-paid effort. There are a variety of ways that you can make that happen, but the way we do it, so the way this works is you're posting simple pieces of content, real TikTok posts on Instagram or Facebook. This simple content that only takes you about 15 to 45 minutes creates awareness, know, like, and trust, and pre-sells your audience on who you are and how you can help. The reason why this is in fact the foundation or the basis for an organic marketing strategy is because you are creating that simple piece of content that is going to indoctrinate and pre-sell this individual. The more you post and the more frequently they see you and the more they trust you and feel familiar with you, it is naturally going to establish a relationship with that individual, commonly referred to as the parasocial relationship, and creates an opportunity or a segue for you to have a conversation with this individual, and that conversation can go in one of two directions. But a quick word of advice. You must be open-minded to needing to test potentially more than one variation of this type of post. Once you get it right, however, you'll be able to continue to reiterate from the original post and structure so that once you have it and it's gold, you can continue to rinse and repeat roughly every 3 to 8 weeks in various communities or groups. Having conversations is the most natural and easy way to identify somebody's current situation, their goal, and the gap, the thing that is keeping them or preventing them from getting there. The more skillful you are at articulating what it is that you're going to do to help that person specifically when you're having this type of conversation, just like you would when you were talking to a friend and making a recommendation or a suggestion because you care about them. That is the premise of organic marketing. Being able to emphasize that gap, it does create leverage and opportunity for you to turn that conversation into cash flow. Even if you're not focused on organic marketing at this moment in time, that's completely okay. Strategy that I'm about to give to you is in fact something that you can rinse and repeat, and it will 100% complement, once you get it right, everything that you're doing with whatever your existing client acquisition methods are. There are going to be two pathways that you will find once you start having conversation with somebody. Now, once you start having a conversation with somebody, traditional status quo route is pointing in the direction of let's have a sales call. Now, on my Facebook and elsewhere on my YouTube, there's a separate video that I've already shared with you, which includes everything from my book a call funnel, all the automations, text, email sequences, and all of those aspects, just so you have everything that you need in the event that that's the path that you traditionally follow. Alternative path, path number 2. Path number 2 leads in the direction from having a conversation directly to making an offer there inside of the DMs. This is very simple and easy to do if you already have trust and authority established with that individual to some extent. Whether they know you from the past, or maybe they worked with you before, or perhaps it's somebody who's never worked with you before, but they just really, really look up to you and they've communicated that in some way, shape, or form in the conversation. You would send over a simple 1 to 4 page Google document. I discussed this in excruciating detail in a separate YouTube video talking about how to make offers directly to individuals who you're having conversation with without doing the free strategy session. Now, you're probably curious at this point, why are we skipping the free strategy session altogether? We're skipping the free strategy session altogether for the obvious fact that a person who's going to be paying you above 5 to 10K is typically an individual who's already invested into themselves in the past. Now, these types of individuals who are sophisticated buyers, they know that when you say free strategy session, you don't really mean anything is free. They know that it's a sales call. So you might as well just call it what it is. You could call it a growth session. You could go ahead and call it game plan call or something along those lines. Just aim to differentiate it instead of saying the word free. It almost cheapens the experience a little bit. Or you can absolutely go in this direction and just simply sell or aim to sell your offer for people who are middle of funnel to bottom of funnel. The folks who actually know you, they've been in your world for a while, they trust you, they really are just interested in those minor details. A few people that I have in fact coached previously and even in the present time do a hybrid version of this where they have a simple 1 to 4 page Google document. It communicates all of the specifics and the details and even the investment amount, potentially information about the guarantees, and they would still hop on an actual phone call for about 15-20 minutes tops just to do a temperature check, identify, hey, do I really like this person? Are we going to get along? And the reason why this matters is because when you're doing things with high ticket or serving a premium type of client who's going to pay you 2 to 10 grand per month, maybe even just slightly under that, you're looking at this for the long haul, right? And so that leads me into the next point here, which is you need to have a priority or a focus on community. Every client I've ever coached, whether their priority, they already had a working offer, they were just getting started and wanted to sell their program or their offer for anywhere between like 1.5 grand all the way up to, let's say, as high as 10 grand. All of these individuals, no matter the methodology for lead flow and new client acquisition or onboarding, once we injected this specific strategy I'm about to give to you into their business model, they were able to systematically, month over month over month, rinse and repeat once they had something that worked using this framework. So, clients like Ulrich, clients like Jamie, clients like Rob or Tyreen who are just getting started, or other coaches and clients like Kyrie, Isaac, John, George, all of these individuals were able to leverage this specific model that I'm about to show you. And the main reason is because it was based on trust, right? Them bringing value to the marketplace and leveraging only their story. So it allowed them to be authentic. They didn't have to be spammy whatsoever. And even furthermore, they were only talking about their transformation, their journey, and in the end, that's what people are paying you for. Right? They're paying for whatever it is that you've overcome because they want the elevator. They don't want to have to take the stairs. You already have the solution, and more often than not, the offers that are going to be the ones that you're most successful with are the ones that you've already solved for yourself, because usually you are your avatar. You are your best client. Now, I just want to put an asterisk before I continue by saying, if you've never ever helped anybody before, then this probably isn't the only video of mine that you want to check out. I would highly recommend you would end up checking out some of the other content that I've created and shared on my YouTube, just simply so that you can get a handle on like what kind of offer do I want to come out with. But this specific strategy, it's going to complement whatever it is that you're doing right now, because as it works, it helps new traffic, new eyeballs, and the new potential buyers who are top of funnel, right? They're just barely coming into your ecosystem. It allows them to resonate with you. They get to identify exactly what it is that you've gone through, what you've achieved, what you've accomplished, and they start to, either align with your personal values, what you stand for, and also admire the fact and just really want whatever it is that you have figured out, because they're still struggling with it. Right? And oftentimes these are individuals, especially when it is so poignant and it really lands or hits perfectly. These are usually people who are like 6 months to a few years behind wherever you're at right now in your journey. And the thing for you to remember, especially if you're just at the start of your journey and you haven't sold any high ticket or premium clients just yet, or maybe you have, but you have a lot of inconsistency. The thing you want to remember is that you only need to be one to a couple steps ahead of whoever it is that you're working with, because it means that you have something that they don't. You have something figured out that this person genuinely needs and wants and they're desperate for. So what is it? Well, it's viral post modeling. Now, viral post modeling is not always going to be you talking about, I used to be poor or homeless and now I'm not. It doesn't always have to turn out that way. In a lot of communities and groups on the online space, right? Groups and communities inside of school and Thinkific and Facebook groups, Circle, wherever it is, maybe even Discord perhaps, you're going to find that oftentimes the types of posts are going to vary. Sometimes the posts are going to look like a two-step where it's asking a question, and the people who end up responding, it's an opportunity for lead generation. When the people respond, then whoever it is that is the admin or the moderator for the group ends up outreaching to that person to offer them that resource or that training. Maybe sometimes you're going to end up finding that the other type of posts that resonate really well might be milestone based, and so it's just simply this person talking about their achievement and then being excited, maybe giving a little bit of value, or perhaps it really is them telling their story and emphasizing the contrast of here's the old me and here's the new me and here's how I've changed and how you can maybe glean some benefit out of whatever my story is and my change. But the thing that you don't want to let go of is that you have to make sure whatever it is that you post, when you're going to model based on what's already working in the group or in that community, that it absolutely is based on your story. Right? Nobody can tell your story better than you, and also nobody knows your story because only you know your story 100%. So the proven formula for how to get new traffic and leads is in fact utilizing what's already worked before. So if let's say you're in a group that has to do with productivity or time management or something along those lines, if you have some sort of method figured out for yourself to be able to get maybe 4 hours of work done in 3 or 2 hours, then that could be something potentially that you would end up turning into a viral post. Or let's say if there is a group that you're currently in and maybe it's for mothers, and this group has something to do with self-care or something along those lines, or being a female entrepreneur. I'm not really sure, but this is just theoretical. Let's say you're in one of those groups and you're taking a look at what kind of posts are really doing well in here or are performing extremely, extremely well, where it gets lots of likes, lots of engagement, and comments, right? People are asking questions, maybe asking, how did you do that? Or I would love to learn more information. Those are the types of pieces of content that you want to evaluate and then turn it into a systemized process where you are creating your own version of what's working. You're not copy pasting 100%. You are not copy pasting. I repeat, do not copy paste, but you're looking to be inspired by what is the framework and the reasoning behind why this worked. Now, the reason why viral post modeling can be so beneficial is because you only have to write one simple piece of content, and oftentimes what does in fact work the best is some form of storytelling that involves a contrast, where you're talking about the old way you used to do things, the old you versus the new you, and potentially even incorporating or using an anecdote, right? Something that is going to be kind of like, here's the lesson or the point, or an inspirational quote. Just know it's not required, but oftentimes those can be used. Now, how can you do this without having any ads or setters or using shout outs or maybe even having an email list, especially if you're just getting started? Well, that's a great question. You want to focus on going into, if you're not in any of them so far, you want to identify at least 5 to 15 communities, so Facebook groups or school groups or something like that, where there are several people who have a similar problem, who need help, a similar problem to whatever it is that you've already solved for yourself. Now, if you already have a proven offer and you're like, I know I sell guitar coaching, or I'm a drummer coach, or I'm this kind of coach, then those are ideally the types of groups or communities that you need to be in specifically. You do want to read the room. So once you get approved to join in that community, if this is your first time and you're just now asking to join, then you need to evaluate what is it that's already working and why is it working? What are the colors used inside of this type of, post? If it's text with a colored background, if it's maybe a visual type of post and there's an image, what is it about this post that's really, really working? You only have to write one high quality piece of content in order to create an untapped or unlimited potential. Using the viral post modeling strategy can be immensely beneficial to you if you're using it in the right way based on what already works in that particular community or group. Now, I'm going to show you just a handful of examples. So I'm going to start with my own here. Now, inside of the Nothing Held Back group, I ended up sharing based on what I saw was working. I was evaluating based on what was working inside of that group already, that there were people who were in fact holding nothing back and were literally giving things away, right? Entire Google Drives, lots and lots of scripts and SOPs and frameworks and outlines and breakdowns on pricing structures for funnels and templates, what have you. Now, the thing that I didn't see, which I knew would set me apart, is copy, paste, or plug and play Airtable dashboards, specifically for tracking and KPIs, metrics. Now, the reason why is because when you end up going into the coaching, consulting, and course or info product space specifically, systemization, tracking, and training and hiring individuals tend to be some of the most lucrative opportunities available to you. So the fact that I literally was comfortable, I had to make peace with it, right? Because this is what ended up working the most and seemed to go viral in this type of group, is when people did in fact hold nothing back and they were giving entire funnels and scripts and templates away, but I knew that this would allow me to kind of set myself apart because nobody else was giving away entire Airtable templates. And this is something that I have charged clients well over $8K for. So the fact that I was just giving this literal plug and play dashboard away, I knew that that would be beneficial to me, especially because I'm calling attention to who it helps and I am saying my credibility, the thing that establishes my authority right here when I say I left a $5 million plus coaching business, and then I quantify what is it doing for the individual who will plug this in to their business. Then I give the link specifically to the Airtable, so there's no opt-in page or anything like that. And then I have an image here, and I end up, as you can tell, I had a conversation back and forth with several people, and this is considered viral in this specific group because the group is made up of people who are sophisticated buyers and very, very savvy, and they already know the game of organic marketing and direct response. And so essentially, this is considered, in my opinion, micro-viral, but massively successful because everybody who would engage or interact here is a potential prospect or lead or opportunity, right? Because the people who would say, I love Airtable or ask any questions or who in fact messaged me after I ended up posting this, these are people who I knew that they were going to be qualified because they would either understand Airtable or understand the value of systemization. Now, let me show you a separate example. You might recognize this face from a separate YouTube video that I've already posted. This is Krishnov, and this clip is, call that I ended up having, one of my last one-on-one calls with Krishnov, specifically about his agency coaching offer. And Krishnov is a person who, as an agency coach, is inside of the Educate/Agency Navigator Facebook group. And this Facebook group is owned and operated by Aman Ghazi. Now, what tends to really perform well inside of that type of group are milestone posts. So the types of wins and achievements and things that indicate, hey, I got a new client. And so as you can tell here, I've just taken a look and I've gone into the group itself because I am also a member of that specific community. I've looked up and found Krishnov has posted multiple times to rinse and repeat this viral post model that milestone posts, achievement posts, or win posts when you say how much the client ended up paying you for, and then using an image where it seems to have his face and either a shark or a fish or a whale in the background, and then the screenshot as evidence of having been paid and what it is that led up to him getting that specific client, always tends to really perform well, right? So here I'm just going to scroll briefly. You can see he continues to use that specific hashtag, and then he's got lots and lots of positive sentiment and good opportunities, right, from all these people who are like, oh wow, incredible, congratulations, etc. Now, let's say that this is you, right? Maybe you're not Christian Ops specifically, and maybe you're not an agency coach, but whatever the group is or community that you're able to leverage, that you're a part of, whether it's a group or community that you gained access to because it's part of some course or program or challenge that you ended up joining, take a look and consider using the viral post model strategy for yourself.